All right, welcome everyone. My name is Carmen White, and I am a proud member of Vets to Industry, and I'm so glad to be here on another networking Saturday because they're my favorites, where we get to come together, share resources, and get to know each other and how we can help one another. And today I'm especially excited because we have a special friend to Vets to Industry who's going to be sharing some vital information, especially during this time that we're in right now. That's going to be very helpful to you. But before we get started, I just want to share a little bit about Vesta Industry in case this is your first time or you don't know about all the things that we do. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to helping veterans, and our mission is to share resources, connections with the military community. Now, I made that a little shorter than what it really is. So when you read it on our website, I just condensed it a little bit. But basically, we're here to be that connector. We want to connect you with everything that you need during your military transition, or whether it's directly from the military, or you decided to pursue another opportunity, or you're going to pursue education. We want to be here to provide you with those resources and where you can get them from so you can have a smooth transition. We have anything from these events that we host every month, sometimes twice a month, our virtual networking events. We host in-person events. We just recently established our first resource center in San Diego that's headed up by our wonderful volunteers in that area. So if you're in the San Diego area and you need some one-on-one assistance, just let us know. We'll connect you with who can help you. We also have industry specific webinars. We have a very special training webinar that we call Your Next Mission webinar, Your Next Transition Mission webinar, where we go over every month, we cover a transition topic. And those are very small. It's only a few seats available because you actually get to do a workshop style webinar where you have examples, you get to go through them, you can get feedback on your finished product. And we just implemented that program as well. We're going to post all of our initiatives and programs in the chat so you can click on there, check them out. We also have a careers team where we help out with resumes, interview assistance. If you're looking for a job, you want to be connected with an employer on our job board, our careers team is here to help you with that as well. So again, I'll post that in the chat, and I'll stop all this talking so we can get to the good part, which is our good friend, Daniel Faust. I'm going to let him share about his background because he is very accomplished. He does so much, and I don't want to shortchange him in introducing him. So I'm going to turn it over to him to get started today. Thank you, Daniel.
All right, my name is Daniel Faust. I am your veteran transformation coach. The reason why I became that is a story. So I'm just going to tell you the story to go over and get more into it. So I have made two transitions. I started out in active duty and did that for 12 years. And then I did a reservist for another 13 years. It's a total of 25. So I just recently retired last week. But I wanted to go back in the past and talk about how transformation can be really pivotal to have and something I didn't have at that time. So it was July of 2012, and I was getting out of the service. It wasn't by my choice. I cross-trained as a mental health technician, and I thought that's where God was calling me, but I kind of went in there too soon, too fast, and kind of forced his hand. So I was able to cross-train in 2010, and that was the beginning of the end. So they sent me on a deployment, and they said, you need to get this stuff. And I said, I don't get this stuff for a long time, but they still sent me anyway. I get on that deployment. I think I'm doing well in the first 6 weeks. Everything is going great. My job is just to do briefings, do computer support, and to one hand clap when I'm doing presentations. That was it for my first 6 weeks. And I thought, I'm thriving on this deployment. That provider leaves, which is basically a doctor, and I get a new doctor in, and now they want me to do full-on triaging and full mental health care for about 5 military bases in the AOR. And I go to myself and I'm like, I told him, I said, I don't go over and get this stuff. I can do your admin, I can do your paperwork, I can go over and do your briefings, I can speak. That's fine. But they said, we'll train it out of you. I don't know if you ever heard that in the military, that they'll train it out of you to get things fixed and everything else. We'll just go over and add more training to it. You're dealing with real lives deployed there that were struggling with unalive thoughts of themselves and others. And they were going to train it out of me to go over into triage 5 military bases. They found out very quickly I did not go over and get it. I could do the paperwork, but I couldn't do the patient work, or I could do the patient work and I couldn't do the paperwork. And these were not short patient care. It was like 60-minute appointments. They're coming out of Iraq. They're coming out of Afghanistan. They're down here when I was in Kuwait. And my job is to make sure that they don't unalive themselves and go over and get all the documentation. And that went from good to bad very, very quickly. And they basically, in long story short, they didn't let me stay at that deployment. They literally sent me home mid-deployment. And with that, that quickly went from, we're going to try to retrain you, to going over months later, we're kicking you out of the service. We're giving you a 1 EPR. If you're from a different branch, is imagine your performance rating goes from a 5 to a 1, and now you're getting discharged. I still got a good conduct discharge and everything else, but I was pretty much done. And now I'm having to figure out where my life is. And I didn't really have much transition sources. I went to TAPS for about a week, and that was it. And I thought to myself, still doing things selfishly, still not listening to God, still not listening to wisdom. I tried to get into ministry. I tried to grow a business and everything else. And now it's July of 2012, and I'm getting out of the service. And with that, it was really difficult because I kept relying on myself. And I went over, and at first I was doing okay. I got a severance and everything else. And I'm trying to run my business. At the time, I was doing marriage ministry and everything else. But everything went from good to bad to worse in just a few short months. I literally went down to 6 weeks of revenue. I'm trying to aggressively now apply for jobs, and we almost go homeless within like that 6-week window. I was down to $300, and I'm like, Lord, I don't know what to do. I'm crying in my chair. That is the one thing that's actually carried with me all the years, is I had this recliner chair. And I got blessed with a VA check. I didn't know I was VA disabled. So that came in, but there was still the ups and downs with that. I would go over and get a little money, go over and get a job, and then go over and do okay. But then something in the crazy woodworks, and I won't share all the stories. You can go into our books and read the stories. But it was just, it would go up, and then it would go down, and it would go up, and it would go down, and go up and going down. And the worst part of it is that I was not being a good husband. I was not being a good father. I definitely wasn't a good transition soldier and everything else. And I almost broke all those things because I was listening to myself and really didn't have much assistance at all in this transition world. And it was, we moved from one place to another to avoid homelessness, thought jobs were going okay. And the straw broke the camel's back on June 1st of 2014. I'm married to a beautiful wife with 4 kids. They're now teenagers and everything else. And I have one adult child in the house that just recently turned 18. But at the time, they were young. They were like 5, 6, and 7 at that point. And me and my wife just kept going back and forth. I'm not sure if you ever read the book, The DNA of Relationships, but sometimes we realize as veterans that we might be doing some abusive things. And I know I was at that time. Tension would go over and build, argument would go over and happen, repair it with sex, chocolate, communication, do whatever you go over and do to try to keep the cycle going. But on that day, on June 1st, I got threatened with another job loss because of a contract, and I threatened divorce that day on her birthday. Not the greatest man, tool in the shed in that particular regard. And that was my straw that broke the camel's back. And I wasn't even convicted, like spiritually, because I was a Christian. I was more concerned about the financial stuff after I threatened that. I went on my phone and Googled on how much it would be a divorce. on my phone. And when I came home, I got the spiritual, we were veterans, the spiritual nut kicking that I really needed in that particular regard. 3 hour verbal knockout, drag out, more about her bringing it to me. And she did it even with grace as I was getting spiritually kicked there on a consistent basis during those 3 hours. And one of the things that we as veterans don't deal well is that we think we need to transition. And that was the problem. I thought I had to go back to being a civilian. And I kept trying to do civilian strategies for my marriage. I did civilian strategies for getting jobs. I was doing civilian strategies with trying to get connected to my marriage and even trying to get counseling from pastors and pastors that didn't have a veteran mindset. Not saying they're not good, but they're not always good for us. So you go back to that time that she did that during that night on her birthday, and I basically broke her, and it took about 5 years of going through my mess. And this is now an acronym of why we became veteran transformation coaches. I had to deal with my mental, my emotional, my social, my spiritual, and yes, if you're married, your sexual junk. We all carry things, especially with the missions that we've done and the places that we go and the people that we interact with. We have our own stuff, and sometimes we're carrying other people's stuff. I worked in mental health for 2 years. I was carrying people's stuff into that bedroom, per se. I was carrying it into the prayer room. I was carrying it into the living room, and dare to say I barely carried it in the boardroom. The funny thing is that we guard ourselves and we hide everything in our workplaces, but we bring all the junk home to our sacred places. And that's what I continually did. So I had to go over and go through that. And it took about a 5 year ordeal in that particular regard to deal with that mental, emotional, social, spiritual, and sexual. And over the time, we've still had roller coasters. We didn't just go almost homeless once, but we've gone through 3 more times of this. Right now, I don't know if we have government employees in here. You might be struggling with the government shutdown. I'm a government employee too, so I understand the struggle. But the thing of it is that if you're centered on to actively deal with your mess, then God's going to transform you to become the best in that particular regard. So what I'm here to say in a nutshell is that you could be going through those trials right now because of government shutdown, passed up, or anything else, no matter what room it is, from the prayer room to the boardroom. I can tell you, under God's grace and through work, that you can be transformed. And we got to stop taking the civilian strategies. We need to veteran it up, because if we can go over and do great things while we're in the service, we can even do greater things when we're out of the service, because we have those tools and tactics and everything else. So for me, I hope that this was an encouragement to you that trials can come, but they can be testimonies. Your pain can be purpose. Your wounds can be wisdom. And that's pretty much about it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Daniel. And before we open it up for questions, you said so many important things. So many things I want to hit on everyone, but I know I can't for time's sake. But I wanted to ask for anyone who might be going through something similar. At what point did you realize that you had to pivot with your mental, the way you were thinking about your situation, and the choices that you had to act on to change them?
I wish I could say it was any sooner, but it was literally that night. It was God giving me a revelation through my wife. That spiritual nut kicking was the thing, because I didn't realize until a couple of years ago I was autistic. And that's what I've been working through too. It's like how to deal with neurotypical people compared to neurodivergent, because I'm neurodivergent. But it was that moment of that God at least opening the door through my wife, but then also going through tons of books and resources and other veteran agencies to figure out what is broken, because we go through a lot of trials, but we just pass it on. We pull ourselves by the bootstraps. And that logically doesn't even make sense, because if I continue to pull on my bootstraps, they're going to snap eventually. I actually did that one time with my military boots. I kept lacing them up one day, and after about like a few years, I was sticker shocked that it snapped. But if you're always pulling on them, the tension, it's breaking. If you're not taking care of them, they're going to eventually go over and break. And we as veterans now have the time that we're out of the service to actually take care of ourselves, to work through that healing. I went through the VA for a year just recently. That was helpful for me too. But yeah, it was that particular day. I hit these moments and then a lot of clarity comes through. For some people, it might take a little bit at a time, but for me, I'm the type of guy that really needs to get hit in the face. So that was that day. I wish I didn't do the damage that from those 7 years, but I'm thankful for the transformation, and I'm thankful that God uses it so I can help others.
Thank you for that. And what resources were key that are available now that weren't available when you were going through that people can take advantage of?
Well, first off, I mean, yeah, I think even V2I, like if you're struggling in the boardroom and just trying to get the work life like set up, V2I is key. Hiring your heroes, those particular agencies. When you get out and you're into TAPS as a going military to veteran, they just share real quick things for them to meet their check blocks. Nothing wrong with TAPS overall, but they don't really contextualize it to the individual. So that's the first thing, is finding these resources. Is that's number one. Number two is understanding utilizing military one source. That really wasn't a big thing back then to go over into leverage. You know, you can get free counseling from military one source up to 12 sessions. It doesn't have to be clinical. It doesn't have to be diagnosable. I mean, also the VA has opened up immensely since then, because VA used to take months to years to get an appointment. And now with the new initiatives, you can still go to a third party doctor to go get help, and they're doing telehealth. So just during the last 2 years, I went for a year to deal with my autistic stuff. And that's been fruitful that I'm able to do it on the phone or to go over and to do that. Those were great resources that are here now that weren't back then. And also, I think the Military Influencer Conference has a lot of resources if you haven't been there, or MCON, to go over and leverage other people doing things to say, hey, if you need marriage counseling, hey, I need spiritual wisdom, hey, I need parenting advice, those types of things. There's a lot more people getting out there now doing more of the soft skills to help us, because our soft skills empower us to do our hard skills. Because if I'm stressed from my marriage, I'm taking that stress and bringing that from the bedroom into the boardroom or the war room. You might not say it right off. They'd be like, yeah, I had a bad argument with my wife and work's going to suck today. But if you look at productivity, and you look at it, like the productivity gaps is because of those. If I have stressors in my life and I'm not dealing with them, then productivity goes down. So if you want to thrive, first, you got to take care from the prayer room to the boardroom, not the other way around. I can't fix my military career enough to help out my marriage and my family in my prayer room. It's just not going to work. I did it backwards for years.
Thank you, Daniel. So now it's open for questions from anyone. Just feel free to come off of mute, or you can put your question in the chat.
Yeah. Hey, Daniel, this is George. Thanks for sharing your story. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. I'm retired, military, long time. And I also have spent over 30 years in HR, and I'm a chaplain. So a lot of what you just said, I connected with, and the Lord has just led me to go back, get a second master's degree. I'm working on becoming an LCSW. That's going to get me into the world, the social work folks and those networks. Uh, they don't tap into the supernatural and the spiritual and the prayer and all that stuff, right? So I'm going in with a different kind of angle and experience. But what I need help with is I see what you just shared, I saw in Okinawa, Japan, in my recent trip there in June to July. I went on a recon mission. That recon mission is on my own. I went there and I stood in the exchange. I stood in the commissary. I watched all these young people, a lot of them like you. I saw them with their families. I could see the story that you're telling. I could see in these people's lives, and I'm like, they don't have a clue about what they're about to navigate into, and they
Mm,
don't have the compass to get through all that. So now I'm focusing and I've been doing research for the last 2 months. I'm going to focus with enhancing the DoD Skill Bridge program with civilians, corporations. There's probably in Houston alone, which is where I'm at, there's probably over 10,000. And there's over 10,000 personnel, easy, like you, transitioning, looking for, hey, how do I make that connection? I would like to connect with you because you have a lot of experience. And what would you say to us in the community now? Either you got a lot of experience or you're just starting out. What would be your guiding compass, which I know you said was prayer. You got to start there. You got to start with yourself. But what guidance, what overall guidance would you give to say use this as your compass as you navigate?
I would say if you're going to do that, number one, it's got to be experiential and it's got to be shoulder to shoulder, especially if you're ministering to men. Warrior Horse, for example, I went down about a year ago as an experiential thing to do a lot of healing. And if you're trying to do the talk therapy, which works great for a few people like me, and you can go over and talk all ding dong day. But most of the men, it's already hard enough, and we've been taught to repress our feelings, repress our thoughts, go over and be provider and protector, and then we just kind of keep pulling the bootstraps until we snap. And a lot of the ladies are the ones that are pursuing the divorces. I'm the oddity in that particular regard. It's up to 80%. The last statistics I looked is that 80% of women are pursuing the divorces. When they get emotionally done, the dude's kind of dumbfounded because she's been here, but we didn't know how to process the situation. But when we hear that word divorce, we do that. So I would say it needs to be a more experiential discipleship, one-on-one. I was going to pursue an LCSW, but what I recently got into is I'm becoming a mental health coach with the VA starting in January. I found out coaching one-on-one and experiential events definitely work well with the men. I can't speak on the women. My wife is the person that helps me with that. I can just say that at least if you're going out there and you're wanting to go help, it just even shows statistically that if men are the initiators on the healing of the marriage, it's more apt than the women because they want the men to go over and to lead, you know. So I would say if you can get experiential one-on-one or group type of events that you can do within your practice and then connect with those resources to go over and grow, I would say that's huge. You are in the right area where a majority of people transition out of the service. I'm one of them. I just got out of reserve. I'm a retired reserve now for about a week. And there's about 250,000 of us that transition out every single year. So you're in a good place. I would just say to find that experiential and try to start exploring other places like Warrior Horse, Warrior Set Free, those types of agencies, and see what they do to have those transform lives and see if something that maybe you can pivot into, because the counseling is good and it can get you revenue and everything else. But at least my experience with the men, I think we need more experiential one-on-one walking through that than to go over and just do the one-on-one counseling. So I would add that into your quiver, is to try to build something that's experiential.
Excellent. Thank you.
David, you had a question?
I did. Just a general question. And I think you may have answered part of it, but what I see is a lot of service members feel there's a stigma in regards to mental health. And did that bother you? And if so, how'd you overcome the fear of that stigma?
I know a lot of men struggle with the stigma, and service members in general, pretty much. You know, I used to, when I worked in Wright Pat Medical Center, there was pediatrics and mental health. And they moved us to the 5th floor just to relieve the stigma because we were near pediatrics. If you saw somebody come in and be like, people would be looking like, oh, Sergeant so-and-so went into the mental health clinic, da-da-da. And I'm like, you're literally peeping and up to your guard. But the amazing thing about us as veterans now, you can quietly go over and do it via text. You can do it through consulting. You can do it through experiential events. If you're a guy that just needs, or a girl that just needs to do something experiential, I don't want to limit them because I mainly work with guys, but if you want to do something that's more experiential, I like Warrior Horse. I like Warrior Set Free. They have freedom appointments, you know, or go through that adventure on a weekend. That's the type of thing that I would recommend, because unfortunately the stigma is going to take a long time to go over and break. We're trying to, as a mental health, spiritual health community, I know with current world events in the past couple of months, faith has really opened up in a lot of opportunities across not just the nation, but the world. But it's going to have to be something really experiential or supernatural that's going to have to open up until mental health and also spiritual care breaks that stigma. But don't be fearing because of that, because the first step is stepping in. And if you have a battle buddy that's going over and struggling, even just saying like, hey, I'll be with you, because that's what we used to do in the mental health world. Is like, and even as a sergeant, you would be like, hey, if you need somebody, I'll be there with you. I don't need to be in there in the appointment, but I will be there with you. And they felt that position of safety because you were just there supporting them. So I would say that was pretty much it in that particular regard. I don't know anything I can see in the future that will really change the stigma, but I think it's just one person at a time showing people like it's okay. And also being transparent, because when I started being transparent about my autism last year, I actually started people texting me back. They're like, wow, it's the first time. And I had a one-on-one with a couple of them, and they're like, being open. So also sometimes even being open about what we go through. And that's why we try to share that on our social media and on our podcast too, is just to be open and vulnerable to break that stigma, because it's okay to have talk or experiential or get some guys together or do discipleship or whatever it's needed to be. That's what's going to break it in the long term, is that we have to do it one at a time. It's not going to be some monumental thing.
Okay, thank you. Because what I see a lot of times is nothing happens until there is a like a catastrophe or an emergency situation type thing, and then people are kind of forced to get mental health.
Yeah, and that time it's like, especially statistically for the ladies, it's kind of really late in the game. They've already decided to emotionally pull chalks at that point. So speaking just to the men in particular, if you sense anything different, lack of intimacy, connection, physical touch from your spouse, like this thing a little more distant and cold, start looking at that now and also being proactive, like to woo your spouse. I do a monthly anniversary. I know this is going to cost you guys a lot of money. I just said this. We do a monthly anniversary just to keep the spice in there. It doesn't mean you have to spend $150 to $200, but you remembering the day, doing something important, sending a text, giving some physical affection, words of affirmation, learn their love languages. Just that opens up the gateway. When you open up their heart, you open up their soul. And if gentlemen, if you're lacking intimacy in your relationship, if you start doing that, things will open up massively. When I started working through my mess, oh wow, intimacy is so much better, so much more frequent, and just in all realms in that particular regard. And then you have an overall better marriage, because now you got that battle buddy with you to take on the kids and to take on that war front. When I got out of active duty, my wife was concerned about everything and all the homelessness and everything else, but I wasn't being the true provider and protector, because I really wasn't providing and protecting her heart. Once I provided and protected for her heart, even though we went through all this rest of those roller coasters, and right now we're not doing that fiscally well with the shutdown, but my wife is trusting because I'm providing and protecting for her heart. So I have no fear of her going over and leaving anymore. If we went through this 13 years ago with my junk, God, might as well just go over and just call the lawyer now and just pay the bill. It is such a difference in that particular regard.
Any other questions for Daniel? Feel free to come off mute or put them in the chat.
I haven't had a chance to look at the chat.
Hey, that link I posted, that's your Facebook page, right? The what was it? Elements of Surrender.
Elements of Surrender is my wife's book, actually. Just came out about a year ago. We're actually writing Elements of Surrender Desert Places. But yeah, if you just Google Daniel Faust and go to, I'll just type in the exact link that gives you everything that me and my wife is doing. It's Linktree/war hero to superhero, because we believe that everybody that's in the service was a war hero because they went over and served the country, but we want them to transform to a superhero. That was our original podcast. But if you go to that link right there, everything we go over and do is there. And if you ever DM me on Facebook, I'm ADHD over there, so I will definitely see it unless you get caught in the others, but I check those others too. So
Daniel, can you touch on something real quick that you were mentioning before everyone joined today? You were saying how it was very challenging for you at one point because you were searching for resources and you felt you could only get help if you were, on the verge of disaster. Can you touch on that and then share how you dealt with that and kind of talk through that a little with someone who might be approaching that or going through that?
yeah, the first thing you have to change in your mindset, no matter if it's government shutdown, homelessness, marriage disaster, and everything else, the rest of the world is 9 to 5. If you go over and you wait until crisis, you're going to go over and get into more crisis. That's the first thing that I learned. After going through 600 agencies across 3 states, I have learned that you have to be proactive. The second thing you have to go over and be prepared for to have the perseverance is that you got to, for a lot of these agencies, you have to technically wait until you're in crisis on certain things like rental assistance, utilities, and things of that nature. So have all your stuff prepared when you go into those phone calls. So if you are in the government shutdown right now and you are getting affected, I didn't get approved for one of those USAA loans. I had to borrow somewhere else. I'm having to work 2 jobs right now while growing other things. So I have to have all my stuff equipped if the government still is activated by November 5th to then go over and do that. So I would recommend to get all your ducks in a row, birth certificates, social security cards, incomes, things of that nature. But no matter what you're walking through, if you wait until the crisis mode to go in, until that day, and now you're pulling, it's going to bring more undue stress and everything else. So if you see something from struggles into your marriage to struggles with resources to struggling with your kids, it's better to be proactive. But if you are dealing with nonprofits that are helping specifically with rental and electricity assistance, you have to wait until you get the notice. So I don't want you to have that undue stress. I had to learn that the hard way. I'm like agency after agency after agency going around and calling. So if you can connect with bigger agencies like V2I and hiring your heroes and everything else that are resources of resources, you won't get exhausted and burnt out, because I called 211.org. I would call churches and nonprofits and all these things and walked into these offices. I think the worst scenario is I went to this church that a nonprofit was running in the church, 3 hours sitting there, and they said, "Oh, we can give you $75." I could have worked. I was in here for 3 hours, and oh, we have to be last. I mean, if God didn't give me perseverance, I wouldn't have lasted, because I felt like I wanted to throat punch that person when I was in there. I'm like, are you serious? I burnt 3 hours, did all this pre-work and everything else and that. So to have that perseverance, I wanted to give you preparation that if you are in this government shutdown, but also letting your family and friends know, because sometimes they might be the resources that have that resource, or they might bless you with that resource. I had one time that I had one agency I talked to, and they paid for the rent right in the middle of in the parking lot. I was on the phone in the parking lot, and they asked me my routing and checking number, and then they literally paid everything off. Sometimes you could be one contact away from getting that alleviation, either in your marriage, your family, resources during a bad time in your life or government shutdown, just to have those conversations. So you just wanted to prepare that no matter what you go in, start working on it early and be prepared that it might take some time and not everything's going to be instant. I can tell you that from attesting from the times I've been through the roller coaster.
Thank you for sharing that. We talk a lot about how to write a resume and how to revise LinkedIn and how to job search, but we often leave out this important talk that we're having today. And our CEO thought it was extremely important that we cover this and have more discussions about this, because you're going to go through things like this as you transition. So it's good to have the tools, and there's a lot more resources available than when some of us were transitioning. So this is what it's all about. We have time for one more question, so don't be shy if you have one for Daniel.
I know there's a couple in the chat I'm reading right now.
Okay, go ahead and answer those.
Let me see. The one that I'll answer for George, it looks like, how do you access your training course? So we do all our training courses through school. I'm not sure if you've seen it, that SKOOL. we focus from the bedroom first, and then we expand from there. But our military marriage warriors school is available. So I'll have that on the link tree by the end of the day that you can go look at that. So we do all our free content on podcasts, Facebook, TikTok, all those type of things. And then if you really want to dive in, the school is free, but then the courses would then be fee in that particular regard. But when we do lives and postings and group chats and things of that nature, that's free. So that's where you can access that. But I'll have it on the link tree by the end of the day. But all other things like books and content that we go over and do. So.
All right. Are there any other questions before we close this session out?
Yes, I want to thank you. This is George again. I'm sorry nobody else jumped in, so I'm going to. Daniel, can you address, because as an HR professional, being in HR for 30 years, I'm a human behavioral specialist, right? So I'm going to read your mail like in the first 120 seconds. And so a lot of veterans that'll come in, you can see the low self-esteem. You can see that they've been having issues. They're trying to get a job. They're interviewing with me. And so I've even stopped people in the interview. I'm like, look, dude, I can't push you forward because that hiring manager is not going to make you an offer. So here's what I recommend. And so I'll make my recommendations. But how would you address, and this is such a critical piece of the emotional and the transparency and what you're doing right now. It's a great work. I'll be connecting with you more, Daniel. But could you speak on that, addressing your emotional stuff? Because remember, military does a great job in creating warriors. Where warriors, we get out, they don't do such a great job then. They close the door, kick you out, put you whatever your discharge is. You're on your own. Cavalry's not coming for you. So how would you talk to men that are, bottling stuff up? They're suppressing their feelings, their emotions. They no longer have a battle buddy. You're out here doing what you do. How would you take care of self-care stuff before you go in? You've already redone your resume. You've gotten the training. How would you address emotional and some of the suppressed feelings stuff that's going on?
Are you talking about a person before they're getting out, or a person now they're
Uh,
out now? From what
Now they're out
perspective?
now. Now they're out now.
Yeah, now they're out now. I mean, I think one of the biggest things I've come to find out is we veterans are like the Incredibles. If you've ever seen the movie, it's a great movie. They're
Yes.
superheroes and they were all be involved, and then they got ostracized in the beginning of the movie, and then they had to go hide. But they were in all the different places, and we veterans are the same thing. Once we get back into the world, there's a few of us here and there. Sometimes there's signs. Some people are blatant. They'll wear the sweatshirts. They'll wear the swag. Some of them are really, they'll wear the veteran hat and everything else. But others will grow their hair long or totally not recognizing everything else. But trying to see if you can have maybe like a quick conversation to see where those people are at, so you can build those battle buddy resiliencies. Like I just worked at FedEx this morning, a seasonal job, found the guy who was a veteran, started having a conversation, so start building that. So I would start building that. And if it's uncomfortable for you to have those conversations like face to face, then maybe online and just do it as a business thing, and maybe can and ask to maybe find that mentor. But for the harder emotional things, the spiritual things, the mental things, the psychological things, even when you get into marriage stuff, the sexual things, it's you're gonna have to learn how to befriend again. And what I would recommend you to make it a little easier is like what George was saying. He can read somebody in 120 seconds. I can do the same thing, but I got certified in the DISC model human behavior. So the easiest way to start your journey to get to know people so you can connect a little better, and then maybe you can start dealing with the stuff and figure out the right person to go with, is learning the DISC model of human behavior. There's a perfect book, and it's on our website. It's called Positive Personality Profiles by Dr. Robert Rome. He's worked with Zig Ziglar. He's worked with all these people, but this model has been around for about 100+ years. It's actually it'll be 100 years in 2028. But it's a really simple behavioral model that uses the letters. So D is dominant, and I is inspiring, S is steadiness, and C is conscientious. And when you learn that, that's something that can carry no matter what relationship in. Doesn't matter if it's veteran, military, spouse, kid, You go overseas and you meet foreigners. It doesn't matter who it is. We universally are wired in a certain behavioral style. If you learn that, that's going to help you at least open the doors to build more friendships as you're getting out. And then to go maybe bridge the gap to find those connections to say, if you have to deal with those things, maybe a battle buddy can deal with it. Maybe it needs to be a pastor, maybe it needs to be someone else. But even then, if you understand that, you're going to easily connect better in relationships if you start learning that. And it's a really short book. It's a fun read. He doesn't do TikToks yet, but hopefully he gets there. But there's other people that teach on it too.
Thank
you. You're welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Daniel. We hate to bring this session to a close, but we really appreciate you making time for us today. I know you've been super busy over the past few weeks. So if you want to reach out and connect with Daniel, please, his information was listed in the chat. We're also going to share in our recap email, we're going to share all the resources he shared today, plus his contact information. So if you miss it, we'll send it to you there. Before we move on to what's next, though, don't forget to put your name, your LinkedIn information in the chat so you can connect with one another. You want to leave this networking session today having at least 5 new connections that you didn't have before. So you're building your network. You're going to have some opportunities as we go into our breakout rooms today to share a little more and meet people, but don't miss your opportunity to connect on LinkedIn. That's your number one networking platform that you'll use during your transition. Before we go into our next session, I want to take a little time to recognize our diamond sponsor, which is Signal Health Group. They make these networking events and all other events for Vets to Industry possible. So I am going to turn it over to Joel Stewart. I was about to call him Joel Signal. Joel is the Franchise Development Director for Signal Health Group, and he's going to share a little bit more about their franchise opportunity for the veteran community. So, Joel, the floor is yours.
I feel like if I'm going to get a Signal nickname, you got to drop the L, though. I think Joe Signal sounds better than Joe Signal. Joe Signal. Good to see you again, Daniel. Been running to this guy for years, so it's really great to hear his story continue and hear those inspiring words. Yeah, so Signal Health Group, we are a in-home care franchise. So we help people start businesses to try to go and help people in their homes take care of seniors, take care of those who are disabled. It's a really powerful mission. Our mission is to make money while making a difference. It's very important to us that the people that we bring on as franchisees really do care about the impact they're making in the world. And we think it's a sacred trust when we're given someone who's disabled, who's a senior, who has needs and they can't take care of themselves, and we're being brought on to help them meet their needs, have the quality of life that we would want our own parents to have. It's really important work. So we break what we do into 3 different categories: non-medical, personal care, medical home health, and medical hospice. Those are 3 different franchise offerings. We recommend everyone starts with the non-medical unless they're an RN and they've got specific connections in the medical community. But if you don't have any connections in the medical community and you want to get into medical home care, we're a great path. The non-medical, when you're looking at non-medical home care, which is going in and just taking care of people, no licenses, no certifications. I mean, you have to get licensed as a home care agency. I mean, like, your caregivers don't need to be licensed, and you're just going in, doing dishes, watering the plant, feeding the dog, maybe changing the sheets, helping them get in and out of furniture, that kind of stuff. That's where you can start. Anybody can start there. And when you're ready to go into medical, you'll have had a lot of experience in how this stuff works. You'll be able to take a look at that and say, what do I need? What do I need to adapt? And the beautiful thing about it is your client can be the same person. The person that needs that help getting out of furniture is the same person that's going to need some medical help. Maybe they need a home health aide to come in and do some hands-on bathing. Maybe they need some other assistance that's more medical related. Maybe they've got, ongoing wounds that need to be taken care of, or therapies that need to be done in the house. There's a lot of stuff that can evolve into. And eventually, When those people reach the end of life, that is where hospice kicks in. So we give people a lot of flexible options to help people stay in their homes, stay near their families, enjoy a high quality of life. It's an important mission, and we can help you open your business to do it under our brand, Signal Health Group. So if anybody is interested in this, I'm going to drop a flyer in the chat. I'm going to drop my calendar link in the chat. Feel free to just schedule a time with me, book an hour. We'll go through our brand. I've been told that it's very thorough, so you'll know within 45 minutes who we are, what we do, and whether or not it might be something that'll work for you in your own life and your own work. The other thing worth noting before I get off here, we have probably the best veteran program in franchising. We fully finance the franchise fee for veterans in-house. It's a 3-year payback with no payments in your first year of operations, all at 0% interest. So we really do invest in our veterans. We put tens of thousands of dollars into training you and supporting you, and we make sure that you're up and running before you even start paying that back, and 0% interest. So it's not like we're trying to take advantage of you in any way, shape, or form. We just want to help you get started, making a difference and getting started in business ownership in the senior care space. That's all I got, Carmen. I'll kick it back to you.
Thank you, Joel. And if you have any questions or you want to learn more, please reach out. Next, we're going to turn it over to our next session, which is our recruiting and industry resources. So if you are a recruiter, please feel free to come off mute and share any open roles that you have.
Hey, I'll go ahead and go first. This is Robert. Hey, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. My name is Robert. I work for Hyundai Motor America. I support both Hyundai and Genesis nationwide. I can help somebody find a job or network within Hyundai. It could be at the dealership environment or it could be at the corporate environment. We have everything from IT, finance, cybersecurity, aviation drone programs, but we also have, manufacturing positions depending on where you want to live or work. For example, Montgomery, Alabama, West Point, Georgia, and Savannah, Georgia have facilities that are manufacturing only. But then you could also work at any number of our, 1,000 dealerships, which could be a combination of Hyundai and Genesis as a mechanic, consultant, sales, that kind of thing. If you don't want to work for Hyundai, feel free to still reach out because I do have contacts with other agencies. So if you wanted to network with like Lockheed Martin, NASA, SpaceX, General Dynamics, something like that, what I'll do is I will connect you with them, or I will also send you a Word document, which is 70 pages of contacts to other companies. These are just the different people that I run into, on a daily basis when I'm doing these type of events. But I will go ahead and put my information in the chat, and then periodically throughout the event, I will actually dump some of our open jobs that I have seen within the last couple days. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robert. Any other recruiters present that wants to share today? Go ahead, Daniel.
I'm not an official recruiter, but Tovala Coaching, which I'm starting with their certification, it's the National Health and Wellness certification. They're looking for 2,000 mental health coaches over the next 5 years. The job is completely remote. The hours are, you can do part-time or full-time. Tovala Coaching is TOIVOA coaching. You can go to an informational seminar. Once you get the certification, they do scholarships depending on your veteran status or civilian status. You will start out at minimum of $40 an hour, and you can go up to $60 an hour. Their main goals of 3 types of people that they're recruiting primarily is Delawareans, veterans, and male spouses and families. They obviously focus in the rest of the nation too, but that's their 3 primary ones. So I start with them in January to go through their cohort. They do 3 cohorts a year, and you can do everything online, and you can find out all the details. If you need a direct connection to the staff, I can connect you with them and everything else. I'm hoping to actually become their recruiter because I just naturally like recruiting people. But right now, I'm an informal recruiter. So if you wanted to find out more information, if that's your spin, and you don't have to do as much time in the sense of degrees and whatnot. So they will train you, and the providers will do the provider care, and then you will do the coaching care.
And what's that sign up information? How do they sign up
Yeah,
again?
go to Tovala Coaching. So I'll type it in the chat, but it's TOIVOA Coaching. So TO. I'll see if I can find the direct link. Let me look for it, but that's at least the name of the company.
Okay. Thank you very much. And Dan shared that Heather Klein had to leave, but she attached their open roles in the chat. So feel free to download that attachment, that CSA hot jobs that Dan attached. Any other recruiters? I don't want to miss anybody.
Hey, this is Dixie.
Hey, Dixie, how you doing?
Uh, Doing good. I've talked to a couple of recruiters in Anchorage. Things are going to be busy. They're starting to post jobs up, and there's also going to be a number of Milcon construction projects in the state of Alaska this next year that was delivered by our senator. Things are happening. They're going to look like they're going to return the Navy. So if you're interested, give me a call or send a message. And like I said, there's opportunities in Alaska.
Thank you, Dixie. Can you share your contact info in the chat so people can reach out if they have any
Yes.
questions for
Thank
you? Thank you. Oh, wow. And Robert just posted that US Vets Los Angeles is seeking to hire a veteran talent specialist. So if you're interested in that one, see that link he posted.
Yeah, also too, if you go to that link's gonna take you straight to that posting. But when I was playing around on their website yesterday, they have a bunch of other positions too. I think I saw some in DC. I saw some they're looking for a few different either recruiters or coordinators in the Phoenix, Arizona area.
Right.
But you just gotta find the right place to click on their website to get to all their jobs.
Thank you for sharing. All right. Anyone else? Feel free to come off mute and share any open roles. All right. If not, let's move on to any resources. So if you're a veteran service organization or if your organization has resources specific for veterans, please feel free to share those.
Well, I can share one. So I am the CFO for an organization called 10CAN. That's the number 10, CAN.org. And we've got some chapters across the US. And what we do is we take veterans and first responders out hunting, fishing, and other different outdoor activities.
And how do people sign up for that, David?
I will put the link. It is 10can.org.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And I know you just joined, so sorry to put you on the spot, Ramses, but I have to call out our wonderful partner, QRF Up, who is in the building to share.
Yes. Hi, how are you? So I'm Ramsey, the president of QRF Up. And we have an amazing application that helps veterans, first responders, and their families with crisis intervention. Our two-tier approach is first, we help with a therapist. When they hit the red button, a therapist will jump online and start talking to them, triaging them, getting them into a safe place. If they need physical assistance, peer-to-peer support specialist will come out to them and follow through with the plan that the therapist put together for them. And we are actually now doing housing as well, and employment. So we have 250 units available in Florida. We will help relocate you there, stabilize you, and then from there, we're building 4 other locations: California, Arizona, Iowa, and Pennsylvania. So if you guys need anything, please reach out to qrfup.org or download us on Apple or Android app store, and we're available for you. Everything is free, and there's no real requirements aside from a DD-214, and we don't care what the discharge was. We just need to know for granting purposes that you were a veteran.
I just want to move. So if these places are available, that sounds amazing.
Thank you for sharing. That's amazing. Anyone else, feel free to come off mute.
Okay, so I guess I have a new role here called postveterati.org. Brand new mentoring website. It's been designed after the original Veterati that went down a year ago. And we have numerous people who are in industry who are willing to give an hour of their time to assist you in anything you want to talk about, having to deal with transition to different industries, or I guess some of us are qualified to talk about just about anything.
Career pivots.
We love to talk. Postveterati.org.
Thank you, Dan. Who's next? Don't be shy. Share those resources. All right, no problem. We will move on to our first breakout room. In your breakout rooms, they're going to be small, but you'll have either a V2Y volunteer or a veteran networking event participant who will be leading the room. The goal of the breakout room is for you to share your elevator pitch so you can get practice with that, and then also this is your chance to network with a smaller group. Share what you need, ask questions. You're going to have some experts in those rooms, people who can help you and people who want to help you. So take advantage of it. Your first breakout session is going to be 30 minutes. And don't forget to take pictures and share with everybody and let them know how much fun you're having today. All right, so I'm just going to arrange the breakout rooms really quick.
I'm going to put the codes in the chat. Give me a second.
Codes for what?
Patience.
I thought I missed
Also
something.
help identify what you're here for. So if you're a career seeker,
Oh, okay.
you're a veteran service organization or a recruiter, it'll let everyone know how to best assist you.
And yeah. If you need to know how to change your name or whatever, it's the 3 dots when you come over your picture, upper right-hand corner. Click on the 3 dots and then you see rename.
All right, sorry for the delay, y'all. I'm working solo in the background today, but I'm about to send you to the breakout room. And if you have any questions, just let us know. Here you go.
And thank you so much. It's so good to see some people that I know. Daniel, so good to see you, buddy. Joel, so good to see you as well. I want to start my class with this, and I brought this up because every one of us have what I call Grandma Dankus, right? And the reason I'm bringing this up today is that when we write our profiles or work on our profiles, I want you to think of the hypothetical Grandma Dankus, so that if you think that you've written something or you communicated something, then what I would ask you to do is to take your LinkedIn profile and show it to your quote Grandma Dankus, so that you can get her appraisal on if you're really communicating well with her. Okay. I use this a lot because a lot of us in the military, we like to use a lot of military gobbledygook, and we like to write to impress, except to express. So I start today's lesson with a hypothetical picture of Grandma Dankus. So we're going to talk today about banners. And banners are little pictures behind that. You've got your banner, which is right behind your profile picture and your headline. So in the last class we had a couple weeks ago, we talked about the headline. Today we're going to talk about the banner. So I think that the banner is probably one of the most misunderstood parts of a person's LinkedIn profile. And I have people think of like Hollywood, Las Vegas, and this is of course New York City, but there's all these banners on LinkedIn, and you've got to create a LinkedIn banner that really, really shines and stands out. Okay. So first and foremost, here's the right size for your banner. Okay. Yes, you can download it from Canva. AI will help you with it. But what AI doesn't tell you is there's a right size and there's a right way to do it. So I'm trying to see if I got the right slide. Yeah. So here's the actual grid. So you have a grid, and in this grid, you want to avoid the red part of it, because what will happen is, okay,
That's where your picture goes. Always messes
that's where
stuff
your
up.
picture goes, right? Here is a good example of a wonderful profile on the desktop version, but when you look at the mobile version, this is what happens. Okay. Because I'm going to go back. See the red grid right there, David, right? This is where your picture goes. And so what happened with the general was his Madison Avenue guys made this lovely profile for him, but they didn't know about the grid. So again, here's the grid. This is what happened to the general. I see this all the time, that you put it out there, but you don't use the grid. So what you want to do when you create a LinkedIn profile is you want to make sure that your picture or your image is to the right of your profile photo. There's another example. And at this point, I'm going to ask for volunteers. Do we have any volunteers?
I'll be a volunteer.
All right, Chris, would you send me your link to your profile? Or let's,
Yep, it's
there you
it's in
let's
it's in the
see.
chat group.
Oh, it is.
I just dropped it.
All right.
Oh, I hope I don't get shamed. I don't remember what it is.
Okay. Well, it's okay. Chris, can I say I see a couple of really good things about your profile? Okay. The fact that your photo is not interfering with the graphics, okay, says a lot to me, okay? Um, the one thing I would say though is we know who you are because if you look at your profile, you can drop the Chris Lester here. It's right here, okay? You could put web development up here instead of there. So in other words, I love the picture. I love the image, but you know what I would challenge you to think about, okay, is if you show something that's a little more active, like web development, like maybe, you know, something that says, hey, I'm into web development and really kind of a graphic space. You know what I'm saying? It's good, but it could be better. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. If I was working with you, I would say, well, let's look at some things that demonstrate, you know, web development. Okay. Who is next? Carmen, can I take you as an example?
Get her.
Man.
Uh-oh. Yes, you can do it.
All right. But I'm looking for volunteers and I'm looking here to talk about. Okay. All right. Again, I really like what Carmen's trying to do here. Okay. I like the flag. I like the VETS2INDUSTRY. Notice how it's off to the right. Okay. However, okay. This information down here in like the 10-point agate style, imagine what it would look like if you were on your mobile side. You wouldn't be able to see it, Carm. Okay.
Okay.
I'd have to get my looking glass out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Carmen and I have talked, so I know she's got some good stuff. So I'm able to show people that have really good banners. Okay. Now, Carmen, I want to ask you a question. Why did you pick the American flag?
Because it's a part of our branding.
Okay. Okay. Um, I might tell you that you could put something like I'm gonna go to my profile real quick.
Okay.
You can put a headline up here,
Okay.
right? And then we've talked about headlines before, you know, you've got the 5 or 6 key things in the headlines, but let's if I could suggest, let's put all those in another part of your profile.
Okay.
Okay. In fact, I'm going to go to that in just a second. I'll take one more volunteer. Who else? I gotta have you.
Thank you, Matt.
My pleasure. I'm looking for another volunteer. I see a friend who I met at MIC, Susan Smith. How are you, Susan Smith? And Daniel put his hand up. Daniel Foss. All right, Daniel.
You can grill me. I already saw the wrongness once you started pointing it out. So now I shall be grilled for all.
You know, we're not here to grill people. We're here to help people make it better. Okay.
Hey, I go from grilled to great. Come on.
Is that you here?
That is me here. Yep.
Okay. Based on what you just learned, what do you think you need to improve
Well,
upon
first
first?
off, I only used a short-term graphic, so that was wrong. I should have had a permanent graphic that overall did the business. Secondarily,
Yeah.
because the print is getting eaten alive by my photo, the other part's getting eaten there, so you just see weird hands with the sun. So yeah, I get it now. Once you started training, I saw it.
So can I ask you another question, Daniel?
Yes, yes,
Um, that's your wife there?
yes.
Um, what I tell people is only one picture in the profile.
Hmm.
So it's just you now. Your wife's a key part of the business, and there's other places to put that picture, but you should only have your picture in the profile.
Understood.
Okay. Um, yeah. Susan, can I recognize your smiling face from meeting you with the Mick, and we really didn't get to talk back then. May I pick your profile just to look at real quick? Okay. And then I'll pick on, I'm gonna go to something else here real quick.
Matt, our
Susan.
CEO wants you to do hers after Susan, so I'll put her LinkedIn in the chat for you.
Okay. Susan Smith right here. Is that you, Susan Smith?
Yes,
Okay. Susan, can you see where we got the grid? Are you lacking the grid?
I can see where you've got the grid now. With that picture, I couldn't because I started trying to mess with it as soon as you said that.
Yeah.
And
So
I can't see how, go ahead.
let me show you the grid real quick, okay? Carmen, I'm gonna share this grid with you, okay? If there's a way that we can do this in the group chat, okay? Here.
Okay.
There's the grid. You see it, Susan?
I do.
Okay. And then you see the red there, right?
Right.
Okay. So if you take the grid, right, and use it to fix your profile, you won't have something like this.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Now I've
Yeah.
just got to figure out how to adjust the background picture. Because
So let me ask you something about that background picture. It looks like a mountain. Is that right?
it is a mountain range. It's more the quote than the mountain range that I really liked.
Okay. Yeah. Um, when I went through marketing school and advertising school, what they say about billboards is that you only have 7 words. You've got more than 7 words, okay?
Right.
You sound like you're helping people climb the mountain, right? Is that right?
That is right.
I would say something like helping people climb the mountain or helping military guys climb the transition mountain or something like that. And I would almost like this, and we've talked about this in the last time we had this class, is I would put employment specialist here,
Okay.
and then I would say, I'm like a mountain guide. As I help military professionals transition from their military from the uniform to new lives or something like that. Does that make sense?
It does.
So you put your headline here and you take this quote, which I love, but I think you just want to make it really simple, okay? And then
Okay.
down here in the about section, right? I would say, I would almost take that quote, this is what inspires me, right? And I would be glad to talk to you about it. Also, by the way, and I tell you to everybody in Vets Industry, if you send me an email today at mattshear@gmail.com, right? Or if you were to text me right now on LinkedIn and say, hey, Matt, I understand you got a free course. I will send you the link to the free course. All I need, 2 things. I need your email and your LinkedIn profile and your permission to send you the course. Okay? Simple as that. Yes, Susan, I appreciate what you're doing to help people up there in your part of the world. Okay? But
Thank
like
you.
here, right? Right here, that's where you want to put that inspirational stuff. Okay?
Okay.
All right. You sent me one more, Carm. Is that right?
She said you can message her later.
Okay.
Okay.
It's Mark. Is Mark? Mark, did you want me to use your profile real quick?
Oh, hi, sure. I need help or feedback. So It is what it is. It's okay. You can roast, toast, or whatever you want to do.
I'm not interested in roasting toasting. I'm
I know, I'm
interested.
just kidding.
Okay. Okay. Mark, what is it you do for a living? You're a veteran, you're a cybersecurity alum, you're AT&T driving. I see it right now. Your headline's right here. It says driving people's strategy and secure systems. Is that what you really do for a living?
Right now, I'm looking for a position.
Right.
I did have I was trying to work with this yesterday, and I did have the open to work banner, but it's not really it's not showing up. So
Okay.
maybe
So
my net is too wide.
I'm thinking what you're saying is so you live in Austin, right? And I'm guessing you were up the road there at Fort Hood. Is that right? Or the Futures Command?
No, I was in San Antonio.
Okay, so you were at Fort
And
Sam?
yeah, I recruited out there. So I was at a
Oh, you're a
station.
recruiter.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what do you really want to do now, sir? Your last job, you were operations and talent lead. What would you like to do next?
Uh, Something similar to that.
My initial thought here is, first of all, put your full name in the profile, drop the security settings, okay? Here, but saying seeking to help your company improve your work in cybersecurity, right? And you got
That didn't work out either. I did try, and I completed the MSSA program. Like when you leave, they give you the
yeah.
6 months. I did do that, and then I completed a master's degree, and then I did other stuff, and I never found a position in that field. So
Okay,
that's why I'm thinking to go back. Yeah.
so let's go back to our hypothetical Grandma Dankus, right? Grandma Dankus is talking to you at a Thanksgiving dinner, and she says, "What would you like to do?" What would you tell her?
Hey, Grandma, I want to help. I would like to help, people solve problems and, help organizations become better.
So that's not bad. It's like helping one. I would like to help your organization improve your processes or your mission. Okay, something like that. I think
Yeah.
that's something to think about. Okay, again, if you send me a message on LinkedIn and says, "Hey Matt, I'd like to connect. If we're not connected, I'll connect with you." But then if you'll send me your email, okay, in the next couple days, I will send you the link to the my LinkedIn course. Okay. And it'll help you with some of the things. And for example, guys, that grid that I just showed you on the presentation today is in one of the classes that you'll have, and you'll be able to stop your computer and go, "Oh yeah, that's where the grid is." Okay. Hello, Dixie Banner. How are you? Do we have any other volunteers? If not, Carm, how much time do I have left? Because I'd like to do one more thing.
Yes, you have 15 minutes left.
Perfect. I'm gonna stop the share for just a second while I pull up some other slides. Does anybody have any questions for me that they would like to ask?
So when you give the grid there, right? Is there a
Yeah.
way when you generate your picture that you could know, like, it's 20% of the picture on the left, or how do you get to, if you wanted to use a prompt versus going in and manually doing everything?
I have not used an AI thing in forever. I don't like to use AIs. However, it's not to say you couldn't, but you probably would need to say, put the main image flush right. That would be the thing I would use. Okay. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I
Thank
mean,
you.
I've done that, but sometimes AI misspells words like crazy and you
Sure,
can't fix it.
sure. Okay, so we're talking about your LinkedIn profile and your headline. I want to cut up and we'll go into more depth the next time we have a class, Carmen. But the thing I want to talk about, because I see this, right? When you create a profile, there are 4 pieces to a profile, right? To me, you got a mission statement, you got your goals, you got your call to action, and your key skills. I'm jumping ahead to the key skills because I see a lot of people today, Carmen and everybody else, they have all those key skills in the headline section of their profile. When if they put it at the bottom of the about section in the key skills, then they'll be able to find the people who are looking for you will be able to find you. The Google algorithms out there, they'll search for certain people and go, okay, I'm looking for this and this and this. And if it's in the profile in this part right here, then they'll be able to find it. So I'm going to go back to my profile real quick. And then I would go home. And to me, again, you notice I have my headline and my banner and everything, but here's the part I want to talk about. Down in the about section, come on, you can do it. Okay, down in the about section, all right? See how I've got my mission, my cause, I've got my call to action. Here, right here, see all those cool key skills I have? I mean, I've done all this stuff, right? Startups, writing, publications, government relations, video production, done all that. I would not mind being hired for that, but if I put that in my LinkedIn headline, I only get the first 6 or 8, right? But here is everything that I tell you I've done, okay? And I would tell you this, folks, if you're looking for a job and the job has a specific language to it, right? Like geospatial intelligence, okay? And you call it one thing, but they want to call it that, I would add that term, okay? I would add that term when you're searching for stuff. Oh, I've done that. I'm capable of doing that. Then put that down on the key skills because the the personnel guys that I work with will say, oh, I'm looking for that specific skill. Therefore, I'm gonna put that into my profile. Does that make sense?
Yes.
What? Yes? Okay.
I have a
Perfect.
question.
Sure. What's that, Robert?
My question is, when you just showed us your about section, you listed all your key skills. Did you use all 2,600 characters that it gives you?
I got
Or
pretty close to it. I got pretty close to it, yes.
and and did you list all, well, besides the first part, was the rest of it all just key skills, or was it other things as well in terms of jobs you've held?
Oh, no. See, that's the thing. Okay, good question. So what, it's Robert, right?
Yes, sir.
What Robert's asking is, should I put all my experience within the in the about section? No, not at all. Okay. There's extensive stuff that I had extensive experience in crisis management or something like that. But I felt that was important up to my profile. I put it in general terms, but if you want to get down to the bottom of my profile, okay, in the experience section, you can see not only references but attribution from people that said, "Oh wow, that Matt Sher, he helped me do this. This is what makes him unique." Okay, so
Are you sharing, sir? I'm sorry, I
I'm
didn't want
not.
to
I'm
give you.
listening. I'm listening. I'm listening to you, and I'm certain, but I'm going to share. Okay,
Yeah.
give me a second. Okay, what I'm
Okay.
saying, what I heard you say Give me a second to get this little queued up. What I'm hearing you say is, okay, what I'm hearing you say is, okay, basically what I did in my LinkedIn profile was I did the steps. I have the mission statement, my goal, there's my call to action, and then at the bottom was all the key skills. Anything I've ever done, okay, copy editing, that's in other parts of my experience section. Advanced
You have
planning
to
also.
share your screen, Matt.
Thank you, Dan. Sorry. Technology frustrates me sometimes, friends. Okay. So to answer your question, Robert, this is what I would say. You've got key skills, right?
Okay.
And yeah, and then when you go to the experience section, right?
Yes, sir.
Then you can do a lot more, okay? So let's just go down
Okay.
to military transition roundtable, okay? All right. There is more in depth about what I do, right?
Right.
And then I've got attribution, which I'm going to do another class with Carmen's permission. We're going to do another class about how to use attribution within the course of the experience section. But here's the thing. You get just enough to get people interested. Then when they want to go down to the rest of the profile, right? They're going to find all that. That's for those people that really are detailed people, okay? And the other thing about experience sections, you get to share information, you get to share pictures, you get to share events, you name it, it's unlimited. Okay,
Okay.
good
Thank you,
question.
sir.
I
Yeah,
hope
thank
did
you.
I answer your question, sir? I hope I
You
didn't confuse
did. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. That's helpful. I didn't
you.
know
Okay.
that, but thank you.
See, again, LinkedIn it can be like it can be infinite, you can do as much as, I've yet to have the folks at LinkedIn, okay, Matt, when you were a newspaper editor in Northern Air Force Base, well, okay. You can only have so many space. That it hasn't told me that, okay? But I've also used those kind of experiences so people can get my background in such a way that they go, okay, this is who you are. This is what you've done. And not only this is what you've done, but here are the quotes from people that'll say great stuff. And where do you think you get a lot of those quotes from people that you worked with? Anybody want to guess?
Google.
How about from the people themselves?
How about for the people themselves? Yes. And where do you get those? Why? One place you can get them, my friend Dan Collins, is recommendations.
Right.
Those comments that you see in my
But
profile.
you can ask them for a recommendation.
Right. Yes. Here's another thing to think about. Those awards and decorations you got from the time you're on active duty? That's a good place to put that information in there too. Right? According to Colonel Joe Smith, Matt Sure was this, Matt Sure did that. It's all on your words index, and then also with performance reports. If you have any performance report, it's a matter of public record. Okay. Oh, I think we're coming up. How much more time do I have, Miss Carn? Okay.
It looks like you have 5 more minutes.
Okay. I have time to look at one or two more profiles and their banners. If anybody wants to be a volunteer, now is the time.
Han wants to do it.
Han?
Yeah.
Okay. Han March. Okay. That's a beautiful name. It's easy to find, I think. Oh, you're the new CEO. Oh, hello, boss lady. How are you? Hello, Han.
She's here. She might not be able to talk.
She's shy.
She says
she
she's at the
shy?
game.
Yeah,
What
she's
game
at
is she?
her grandchild's game.
Okay, gotcha. So Han, um, I love the picture, okay? And I love the Signal Health Group. I get that. That's a good start. I would tell you that I would like to know what your mission is, okay? Why are you the CEO of VETS2INDUSTRY? What motivates you, you know? Mentorship platform for transitioning military, okay? I would say helping to establish a mentorship platform for transitioning military would be a better headline than all those other things. Can go down into the keyword section of your profile. Ba, 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 ba.
Is Joel still here? Joel may have the banner that she could use.
You know what? I tell you what, I'm happy to talk to Han and Joel anytime, because I have something I want to share with them that might be of value to them as far as helping older vets with some of their chronic pain and illness. So it's a win-win for us. If we could set that up, I would be glad to do that.
Well, you can definitely look at my profile. Let me find it.
Okay, Joel Stewart.
I haven't updated mine in a long time. I got burned out on social media a little while ago.
Right,
And
understand. Okay.
Let's
I
see.
love the picture. I love the picture. I love this. This is good, man.
It's a little old. I think I got that like 6 years ago.
Is that before kids? Is that before you had teenagers? Right?
Well, my oldest is 15 now, so
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
Teenagers.
embarking on the
Yeah,
dark
look here,
days.
look at this,
Yeah.
okay? Teenagers, right? Teenagers. Daughters. My daughters are 40 and 32, right? Okay.
Well, you
Joel.
survived. It gives me hope.
Oh, it
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Matt, I have a quick question.
Okay.
What do you do when you do get burnt out on social media and you don't, how do you you don't want to shut anything down. You just want to go on a pause.
It's okay to take a pause. I know people they'll take a pause for a week or so. My good friend, one of my good friends who I follow a lot, took a week off. You don't have to, you know, I would say consistency, but it's okay to take a pause, okay? But I also have a mission. What is your mission for being on LinkedIn? I'll tell you what my mission is. My mission is to help people, right? My mission is to help people that are transitioning. It's really clear who I am and what I do. And sometimes I don't get a lot done, but I do look at it as a forum. And I can tell you honestly, I've gotten phone calls from people that I hadn't talked to for 10 years. How did they find me again? Because they've been following me on LinkedIn. Okay. So I get that, you know, that we get burned down on that. Okay. But I would say that it's like anything. If you work at it a little bit every day, it'll bring you great benefits. And I set a time scale. I just done a 30 minutes in the morning to do LinkedIn stuff, and then maybe another 30 minutes in the evening just to do some content. But I define my time. I could be on this 8 to 9 hours every day, but I won't because I define my time and I let it work for me. Okay. Good question. Next question. I had another question, another thought. Joel, I would love to talk to you, you know, anytime, buddy. Let's talk some more about this, okay? Because already I can see that your image is going to get kind of blocked off by the mobile side of things, okay?
Matt, Robert Myers would like to go after Joel.
Okay, Robert Myers. Okay, I believe Robert,
Please.
I believe you and I are already connected. Is that right? Robert C.
Yes,
Myers?
sir.
There we go. All right. Oh, Robert, were you reading my book or something, or were you following along? Look at that beautiful, beautiful. I mean, look at that beautiful banner behind his photo and that professional photo. Now, Robert,
Yes,
if I
sir.
could make a suggestion,
Yes, I'm open to listening.
I would
Yes,
put
sir.
right up here, senior data analyst, okay?
Okay.
And I would put it like opposite, and then all these skills here,
Yes, sir.
I recognize them all. They're all language, right?
Yes, sir.
I would put from here to here, I'd put those in the keywords, but now, do you see your headline right here? Here's your headline.
Okay. Yes, sir.
You see
Thank you.
it?
I do. Yes.
You
I
know,
got
it's
it.
like back in 1975, when I was in journalism school, right? The legendary Dr. Shelley, who's still alive and well, right? He's in a nursing home, but he's still alive and well. Sure, he's tormenting people up there. He would say you would be bearing the lead, okay? So the lead is helping drive multi-million-dollar funding grants and cost saving using data analytics. That's what, and all this stuff here, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm Matt. My last name. I appreciate you calling me sir. Please call me Matt. All those are
Okay.
like different things, you know. Back DMs, yeah, those are all things that businesses are looking for. Okay, and you can put it
Okay.
down in the keywords.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
So if he puts those in the keywords, what does he have left up there?
He's going to have this. His headline's going to be this.
Yeah,
He's going to. His headline's going to be. His headline's right here. See,
Just,
there's his
yeah,
headline.
helping drive multi-million
right, but that's all
funding.
he's gonna have in that spot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, he is. Okay, because you're talking to a retired newspaper guy, military journalist. Okay, headline. Your headline is "I'm helping this." Okay, the rest of those things help you with that, but the algorithm is going to find it through its search terms for like FactDia, Python, Excel, Power BI. They'll look for that, and when he has that in his profile, in the algorithm, in the keywords, the computer generation tools are going to go, "Hey, there's a guy with all this. We're looking for this guy, and oh, he's in Katy, Texas." Okay, yeah, that's why it's important to move that.
Okay.
If you were here the last class, I talked about the headlines, you know, like a newspaper headline. A newspaper is not going to have, you know, a whole bunch of key terms. The headline is going to say like Spurs defeat Rockets in overtime or something like that, because people want to know that, you know, they're not interested in the smaller bites. They want to know the big bites. To me, the big bite on this is helping drive multi-million-dollar funding gains and cost savings using data analytics. There's your headline.
Yes,
And the
sir.
rest will be found there. Okay. Now I know that there are a lot of people out there that are staffing guys, and they'll say, "I'll put it there." Well, you just don't want to have to look too much farther than that. Okay. They're gonna want, if you got a headline that says "I do this," then I'm gonna dig down into the rest of those key terms. And with what I know about those $19,000 search algorithms, they're going to find you if you put all that. Again, you know, if you saw my profile, it had 200 keywords, maybe.
Matt, thank you very much. That's really
My pleasure.
helpful.
Happy to help.
Matt,
Yes, ma'am.
I think when you have this, and I realized this a little bit lately, was if you have a simple headline, it sounds like you're very confident in yourself and you've got your act together. Whereas you add all the other skills in that line, it shows that you're kind of challenged.
Is this my friend? This sounds like Dixie. Is this Dixie? Dixie, you know what? If we were in a real class right now, and I had some of my Tootsie Pops, you would get not one, but two Tootsie Pops for that answer, okay?
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, Matt? Because as
Please.
a hiring manager, when I'm scrolling through LinkedIn profiles and with the resume in hand, I like to see stuff in that heading because that's kind of like a quick way for me to know if I want to read a little more. So what do you say about that?
So I talked to about 2 or 3 people that
Yeah.
are in the staffing world, okay? And what I found was now if they've got the search algorithm, they'll find you by putting those key terms down on the down in the about section where I showed you, Carm.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's your profile. I'm only going to tell you what I've learned from talking to people that are in this business. You know, what I think I'd like to do is bring back my good friend Charles, who is works in in Chicago, and ask him because we've done this before, and kind of go through all this, and he can explain it from his perspective. Okay, I I don't want to give you bad information. I'm only going in secondhand information from someone that I talk to from time to time.
Yeah, and I appreciate your feedback. I'm just sharing what some hiring managers say, and so it's good to know both sides for us. So thank you.
Well, let me make this argument, okay? Hiring managers are great people, okay? But
Yeah.
they're not the ones that they're gonna get the guys, Robert's profile to someone, okay? But if that hiring manager sees that headline that I suggested he has, then they're gonna be more impressed and then they're gonna go into more depth, especially if they're doing an interview or having you know,
Mm-hmm.
it again, everybody's got a different opinion on certain
Mm-hmm.
things, but that's my opinion, okay?
Yeah. Well, thank you. We really appreciate you for coming and having this session with us. And of course, we can't wait for the next one.
Thank you,
When is the
man.
next one?
The next one is November 15th, Saturday, November 15th.
Okay.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
No, thank you. And please, Matt, if anyone wants to take advantage of the course that he's offering, please either send him a message on LinkedIn or send him an email. Let him know that you attended today and you would like to learn a little more with his course.
Carmen, can I just take one more second to do a real quick plug for one thing, please?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Hang on a second. All right. This is my website, which I designed as part of the Military Transition Roundtable. And in this, there's articles on transition. We have a whole assortment of stuff. You'll find 2 or 3 really well done articles by my good friend Daniel Collins, but it's information that is of value to people. What I do from time to time, someone says, well, I have this interview or I'm negotiating my contract. Well, I'll go in here and I'll find information from Miltrack and say, hey, here's this article you might want to look at. So if you are new to transition, please take a look at this. If you have questions about this, please let me know. If you are a subject matter expert like my friend Susan or someone like that or Dixie, please send me your thoughts because I am always welcome to new ideas to edit this. But you'll also see right here on our banner is a link to a military retiree's roadmap to success with Medicare. Guess what happens when you're 65 years of age? You suddenly are no longer in the military health world, and you've got some serious changes you've got to make. So again, this is the kind of stuff that we publish. Thank you for the opportunity to share that. Miltrack.org is where you go. I hope you'll look at that. And by the way, look up Dan Collins' wonderful articles because I've used 2 or 3 of them, probably 4, maybe 5. I lost track, Dan Collins, but I watch it all the time, and I really value what you do, and I provide that to people in need.
Thank you so much, Matt. And now we're going to go to our next breakout room, which is going to be about 20 or 25 minutes. So I'm opening the rooms now. Remember, share your elevator pitch, share resources, take pictures, get LinkedIn, connect on LinkedIn. This is your chance to network. And see you in a few minutes.